Okay, so again, I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the series of the Book of Boba Fett as a whole, and then we're going to have a big spoiler section where we go through episode by episode with some accompanying pictures, except for the final two episodes, just because I really wasn't able to get any screen grabs for that just yet. So, okay, there'll be points in between when the spoiler section starts, alright? Okay, so overall, I'm going to give the Book of Boba Fett a B. I think there's some really great performances in here, some really great action sequences. Overall, the story is not bad. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of plot cul-de-sacs that lead to a real uneven flow throughout the whole series. In fact, there are two episodes that actually feel more like they're season 3 of another show, if you catch my drift. So, yeah, that's just the one thing that really bogs this down. And to be honest, sometimes too, I think if you're a real big Star Wars fan, you're going to love this. If you're just an okay Star Wars fan, you're probably only going to like this, especially when certain things show up. So, overall, that's why I'm giving it a B.
Bet you know what this is. It's the Darth Vader collector's case from the Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection. Inside, it's got room for your favorite Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back action figures. They fit? Yeah. There's Dengar, AT-AT Driver, Rebel Commander, Leia, and 2-1B. You can hold up to 31 action figures, each sold separately, and you can take them with you. Darth Vader collector's case. Action figures, each sold separately. From Kenner.
Okay, so episode 3 of the Book of Boba Fett is called The Streets of Mos Espa, and it's again kind of further detailing Boba trying to earn credibility with the other crime lords. Basically, it's explained that when Jabba the Hutt died, Bib Fortuna, that was his advisor guy with the tentacle head in Return of the Jedi, basically just broke the territory up amongst several small groups, and that's kind of why there's these warring factions, and why Boba Fett doesn't really carry much in the way of respect in this in Mos Espa or anywhere else really, because he's just seen as another faction. This is all halted when a water merchant comes in. The water merchant is played by Stephen Root, and he is complaining about a youth gang that has been augmented with droid parts, so they're sort of cyborg augments, for lack of a better term. And they've been stealing water from him, but Boba basically discovers it's because this water merchant has been price gouging. So he decides to hire the youth gang because he likes their spunk, and he makes the water merchant lower his prices under threat of, a loss of protection, if you catch my drift. And so, after that, we see him dreaming once again of being back with the Tuskens. He tries to broker another protection deal in Mos Eisley, but finds out that the speeder bike gang we've seen running around has also been gouging the spice merchants for protection money. And when he returns back to the Tusken village, he finds out that it's been completely destroyed. However, I'm guessing, this hasn't been fully revealed yet as I'm saying this, but yeah, I'm guessing that at some point this is going to turn out to be not the case, because we'll get to that, because right in the middle of the dream, Boba is ripped out of the Metapod by Chrysanthemum, who's been sent by the Hutt twins to take Boba out, but the youth gang and the other two guards that he hired, they brought along, they get into a fight. Fennec manages to lure Chrysanthemum into the Rancor pit, where they spring the trap again and trap him. And, the next morning, the Hutts come back and basically say, yeah, we're sorry, okay, your message is sent, you're not going to go out without a fight. Anyway, turns out, we've been double crossed again, and Mok Shays has actually promised this whole territory to another syndicate, and, so as kind of a peace gift, here is a Rancor. Here's a new Rancor for you. Not only that, but it's trained by Danny Trejo. So there's your Danny Trejo, Robert Rodriguez connection. And so from there, they go, Boba and Fennec go to the mayor's office. They find the mayor has actually hightailed it out of the city, and they corner his little advisor guy after a big biker chase. And the advisor basically fesses up that he gave this to a group called the Pikes, who seem to bear something of a physical resemblance to these spice merchants from the flashback. So I'm guessing it's the spice merchants who actually took out the Tuscans, not the biker gang, not the speeder bike gang from earlier. Just a hunch. I guess we'll probably figure that out in a week or two, maybe. Overall, fun episode, real good, real nice points in there, but, thankfully, I'm hoping this is kind of the last of the flashbacks for a while. At least, it's nice that they were getting shorter and shorter. Like, last one obviously took up like half the episode. And I think, now that the Tuscans are out of the picture, and we're going to see, I'm guessing we're going to probably have another flashback to Boba Fett rescuing Fennec, because I don't remember that happening in Mandalorian, so... Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably going to be the next major flashback we see, and then again, Fennec realizing that Timothy Oliphant's character from Mandalorian Season 2 is in there. We also, I guess, there's another kind of little cameo that pops up. I believe I spotted, I can't think what her name is, the Amy Sedaris character from Mandalorian was also in a flashback at one point. I saw a similar-looking figure walking through Mos Eisley at one point, so there was a kind of a unique twist there as well. Yeah, but so basically, yep, we're preparing for a big mob war, and so Bubba's going to have to make some alliances to see how this pans out, so see what happens in Episode 4. Okay, before I get entirely into Episode 4 here, one minor little quibble. I really, really wish Disney Plus would just put the title of the episode up in the description. I mean, I understand not trying to put spoilers in there, and, again, if there was an episode title that was a big spoiler, I would understand it, but none of these have been particularly spoilery. It's not like they called any of the episodes like The Hutt's Return or Chrysanthemum or something, or Chrysanthemum, I guess I should say, but still, it's like, yeah, just... Instead, I gotta, to get the title of the episode, I gotta wait through like a 6-minute recap. Just, it kind of gets annoying. And anyway, moving on to Episode 4, which is titled The Gathering Storm, and it's not terrible, but it's pretty middle of the road. It consists mostly of flashback. This is how Boba Fett encountered Fennec out in the desert. He happened to come across her signal flare. She was too badly injured, he needed to get her to a medibay as quickly as he could, and the closest place was one of the places where people are augmented with droid parts, so he had to be augmented with droid parts to the point that she now has a hole in her stomach where you can see all of the mechanical workings going on. So I guess she's cyborg at this point, although they don't say that term exactly, but you get the idea. And it's kind of from there, when she, finally awakens, Boba says, this is what happened to me, and, she does it, again, this kind of furthers the belief that it's probably the Spice Clan that took out, or the Spice Mining Clan that took out the Tusken Raiders, not the biker gang. Said the speed biker gang would never have that kind of firepower to take out the Tusken Raiders that quickly. And, he said, look, I want to form my own house. I helped you, like if you pledge loyalty to me, I can treat you well. You get things kind of, at least, help me get my ship back from Jabba's palace, which is where he wants to go. They need to get Slave One, and kind of from it all, he starts to kind of win her over with the idea of he's going to lead more through solidarity and honor and respect, and keeping promises rather than through the fear and intimidation of the likes of the Hutts and so forth. And so, they have to break into Jabba's palace. They have to go in through the sewer and up through the kitchen. In fact, at one point they corner a droid who spots them, and the droid willingly deactivates itself rather than actually rattle anything out. And so they then make Slave One. A bunch of the guards come after them. And then Fennec has to fight them off as Boba gets the ship activated, and they barely escape. And it's from there that he needs to start tracking down the armor. And we see him first take out the suspected speeder bike gang that took out the Tusken Raiders. And then from there, he goes to the Sarlacc pit, because that's where he thinks the armor is still hidden. Like, he must have... I think he believes that he blindly threw it off when he escaped. Which obviously is not true, but that leads to a bit of an adventure where the Sarlacc almost swallows Slave One entirely, And if it's not for Fennec managing to just barely drop off a seismic charge, which kills the Sarlacc, and they probably would have gotten swallowed, but yeah. That's where basically the dream kind of ends, and it appears this is probably going to be, I'm guessing this is the final flashback, because obviously we know how Boba Fett got his armor and everything, and so I guess we don't really need to show him learning that the sheriff in the one town bought it, and how that turns out, because we saw it all play out in Mandalorian. So yeah, I guess that means no more flashbacks, thankfully, when he finally finished at that point. But it's then that we added to that when Boba finally wakes up out of the metapod. He is now fully healed, so he doesn't have to sleep in the metapod anymore. So again, maybe we're not going to get so many dream sequences. Whew. Okay, but that leads into the very brief second part of the episode. He has to go into town because Chrysanthemum is still hanging out there. Basically, the Hutts disowned him, and even though Boba freed him, he's basically causing havoc. He's causing a ruckus in the bar. Garth the Thwip tries to talk him down. Doesn't really work out too much, so Boba steps up and basically just offers to hire him and at least employ him. And Chrysanthemum's like, yeah, you know what, you're right. I see the way you treat your people. I'll stand with you. And it's from there that we finally get the big meeting with the clans that you see in the trailers for this, where Boba tries to cut them in. He says, I need you to stand with me against the Spice people. And it's like, well, why should we put our lives on the line for you? You really haven't done much of anything. And he says, well, okay, tell you what. I will give you a greater cut of any deals that we have to make. You'll get the greater end of the cut if you pledge neutrality in this, and you just stay out of the conflict completely. You don't side with anyone. And it's like, it's a better deal than what the Spice Clan could ever give them. So it seems that that's how it's going to turn out. They're just going to pledge neutrality, and now it must turn to Boba Fett to hire more muscle, and it's going to be up to Fennec to try to locate it. So yeah, like I said, this one was pretty pedestrian. It wasn't too spectacular. Like I said, it was a good character interaction throughout everything, but other than that, yeah, it was a pretty flat episode. Hopefully things will start picking up for the final 2 episodes once that happens. Okay, so episode 5 sees the return of the Mandalorian in The Return of the Mandalorian. So yeah, this episode is unfortunately a tiny bit of a misstep. It's not bad. In fact, there's actually a lot of enjoyable parts to this. It's just that this is supposed to be the book of Boba Fett. And instead, this feels like it's a backdoor pilot to Season 3 of The Mandalorian. See what I mean? This is kind of where everything gets thrown off, because we've sidetracked an entire episode away from Boba Fett and Fennec and everyone there to instead try to fill in the gaps for Mandalorian Season 3. And even then, it still doesn't quite feel right. Basically, we see Mando on a mission, on a bounty hunt to get some information to where the new conclave for Mandalorians is being held, where he can get some reforged to his armor and learn more about the Darksaber that he earned in the finale of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. And, he does all of this, and he kind of gets wounded in the process as well. And he has to go and get that tended to, and then when he meets up with Pez Vega and her forger, she starts kind of giving some backstory to the Darksaber and how it was. I'm trying to think of the person who forged it, but I can't think of what his name is at the moment. There's a lot of names to try to remember on this one, unfortunately. So sorry if I don't hit all of it, but it was forged by someone who was both Mandalorian and a Jedi. And so it has some kind of force power to it, and it can sort of wield the spirit of the user as well. But if you're not worthy and you try to fight the blade, it won't work for you at all. And that's kind of the problem with Mando, is that he constantly kind of struggles with the blade, to the point that the forger actually challenges for it, because it turns out he's a descendant of the original forger and of the blade. So they fight over it. Mando just manages to win. However, it's revealed that he did unmask in combat at some point. He's unmasked twice on the show. So basically he's kind of excommunicated unless he redeems himself by bathing in the underwater mines of Mandalore, or the waters of the underwater mines of Mandalore, which are all said to supposedly be extinct. So, you know, now this is kind of part redemption trail, and he's also trying to locate Grogu because he misses him, and he wants to get some special armor forged. He takes the Beskar spear that he got from Bo-Katan as well, or no, from Ahsoka. And they do talk a little bit about Bo-Katan as well, so that's also brought up. And from there, he has to board a commercial flight and check his weapons and take off to Tatooine, where he gets a new ship. It's a sort of retrofitted Naboo starfighter, and this is where it's up with Peli Motto, Amy Sedaris' mechanic character. Again, there's a lot of names to try to remember here. And to be honest, I think this is where the better part of the episode is. Like, I would have dropped the whole first part and just done, you know, him showing up to get this new ship and explaining where Grogu went and that he missed him, because, yeah, there's some kind of humorous bits here, him trying to get this to work, because it's all kind of cobbled together from parts they've purchased from Jawas who, you know, constantly scrounge around and manage to find some of this stuff. And because it's pre-Republic, it won't show up. It's a pre-Empire, so yeah, the tracking won't be so good on it, and it can jump to a short-lived hyperspace without a docking bay. So you get all the kind of advantages of, you know, the New Republic ship in the sort of Old Republic ship in the New Republic existence, basically, or environment. And then, you know, they get it working. He takes it for a test drive, and when he returns, Fennec is waiting there to recruit him to fight in, you know, the upcoming battle for the finale that we got coming up here. And he says, "I'll be there, but I gotta, you know, take care of one quick trip, and then I'll be back." And so, yeah, I guess season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to be taking in between episodes 5 and 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. And yeah, that's kind of, like I said, this is where it really does fall apart. Because again, the episode is not bad, it's quite well made, there's some very enjoyable bits, but it's like, you're in the middle of a completely different story. Why are you diverting from it? Like, I would have just taken the part where he's on Tatooine, put that in the first bit, have him, you know, get recruited, journey over, talk with Boba a little bit, and then say, I have to do one thing, but I'll be back, don't worry. And I think that would have worked just as well. Instead, you know, we just follow him around, which just makes us feel like such a cul-de-sac and completely out of place, especially for your second to last episode. Ugh. You can see how that's aggravating. Anyway, see you in episode 6. Okay, so yes, I know I said it was supposed to be the finale, but apparently it isn't. This thing is actually 7 episodes long, which is weird because everything I had read said this thing was 6 episodes. Heck, Wikipedia itself said this was supposed to be a 6-episode series, and then it contradicts itself later in the article. So I guess they must have goofed up and decided, no way, we actually need 7 episodes to tell this. So this is not the finale, however, this is the episode From the Desert Came a Stranger. We get to pay a visit to another long-missed character in this, in the form of Marshall Vanth and his new home of it used to be Mos Pelagos. It's now Freetown. And, you know, he breaks up a spice deal that's going on in there. He tells Pikers, hey, this is our territory, you leave it alone. And we'll get back to him a little bit after that, but, you know, we see, yeah, like I said, we see the Marshal, and then we go back to Mando as he's tracked down the home of the new Jedi Temple. I don't know if they've gone with the EU name for that or not, but yeah, Luke's new Jedi Temple, which is still under construction. You know, R2 actually winds up, you know, sensing him, and he says, hey, I need to meet with Skywalker. I want to, you know, just talk about something. And, you know, if R2 takes him to this one spot, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be a while, so R2 has several droids build a small bench for Mando to rest on as they wait for someone to show up, and then someone happens to be Ahsoka Tano, who kind of talks with Mando about, well, you know, I know you care about Grogu, and, you know, it's good that you do that, but understand that this training means he has to give up his connections and he can't necessarily, if you keep showing up, he's not going to really be able to complete his training, and you're going to wind up playing out. You're going to throw a wrench into a lot of things here. But he says, well, but he's a Mandalorian foundling, and so I have to give him, I have to give him armor as part of my traditions. So, yeah, the armor that was made from the Beskin spear. And basically kind of amounts to Mandalorian mithril. But we'll kind of get back to it. We do get an extended training montage of Grogu learning to use the Force as best he can. After that, and these scenes are not necessarily bad. In fact, they're very enjoyable. If you can tolerate the CGI de-aged Luke Skywalker for the time it's on there, but yeah. But the problem is that they are in the middle of something called the Book of Boba Fett, and here we are again seeing Mandalorian season 3. Now, if I wanted to see, if I want to see Mandalorian season 3, I'll see Mandalorian season 3. These things are taking up way too much of the episode. That's just kind of the problem. Again, we took up half the episode, or basically even the entire episode, really, previously, and now we're taking up another half of it. But still, Mando elects to go back home, go back to Tatooine, meets up with Boba Fett again, says, I know what, I'll try to see, because they still need some more help, because the Pikers, that's the name for the spice syndicate that have set up shop, the mayor, Shies, has left town, more and more of these spice traders are, amassing, and it's like, if they can take us down, they're going to have the numbers advantage totally on us, so, we're going to be in trouble. So, Mando basically goes out to enlist Marshal Vanth, and Vanth is unsure. He says, hey, look, we finally settled things down in this town. We're trying to enjoy some peace and quiet. And Mando says, look, that's great and all, but at some point, it's going to come to you. You can either try to stop it before it can come, or you can just let it come and trample you. And he leaves, and then just shortly after Mando leaves to head back to Mos Espa, a silhouette appears on the horizon, and it turns out this is Cad Bane. If you don't know who he is, he appeared a lot in the Clone Wars animated series. He is basically a bounty hunter, and worked with Jango Fett, kind of mentored Boba Fett very briefly, and he was the ruthless bounty hunter before the Fetts showed up, basically, and obviously the Spice Syndicate has hired Bane to deal with him, and he says, again, hey, we'll match Fett's offer if you just stay out of this. And Vance says, no, I don't know, can you promise you just won't bother us, because that's all we're looking for is to be left alone. And eventually it leads to Vanth and his deputy getting shot. The deputy is obviously killed. Vanth is probably still alive, I'm guessing, because you're not going to waste Timothy Olyphant like that in just one episode. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in the climactic battle, which we're finally building towards. And that's pretty much... Well, there's one last bit. Basically, again, the Spice Syndicate bombs Garsa's cantina, and from there, it's sort of sensed by Grogu what's going on. And it's at this point that Luke makes the presentation. He gives the Mandalorian mithril, and then he pulls out a small lightsaber that belonged to Yoda, and he says, this would be yours if you choose to be a Jedi. You can choose one. You can either go with Mando, or the Mandalorian, as he said, or you can be a Jedi and train. But understand, you choose Jedi, you can't think about Mando anymore. So that's kind of where the episode ends off. And like I said, this is not bad. I like a lot of the stuff that was in it. Unfortunately, again, it's like we're not getting a lot of Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett here during the, build up to the climax of the story. Again, it's like we're getting a little too much distraction going on here. So, yeah, it is unfortunately beginning to sour me on this series that I was rather enjoying up until this point. So, yeah, Next week is hopefully the finale. Like I said, I'm not longing for this thing to end, but at the same time, you know, again, I'm hoping this is 7 episodes because I'm trying to plan this thing out as best I can. So, see you next week. Okay, so episode 7 is the finale this time, thankfully, and it is called In the Name of Honor. This sets up all the big battles that are going to happen, and there's, of course, a big revelation coming up. Basically, the big thing is, as they are surveying the wreckage of the cantina, which blew up in the last episode, Cad Bane appears, and Mando also shows up with the assertion that, again, Marshal Vanth and the Freetown citizens are going to arrive and provide reinforcements. It's at this point that Cad Bane shows up and says, nope, Freetown is destroyed, I killed the Marshal, they're not coming. So, we're willing to negotiate terms of surrender. Boba Fett refuses, and Cad Bane drops the big truth bomb that isn't such a big truth bomb, which is that, of course, the Spice Syndicate is actually the ones who killed Boba's tribe of Tusken Raiders. So, yeah, that kind of sets him off. He's trying to egg him into a fight. Obviously Bane brought backup as well. And as this happens, it also turns out that the Spice Syndicate has enlisted the other crime lords in the area to turn on them, and even though they had pledged a neutral fealty to Boba Fett. So, again, another kind of big shock there. Unfortunately, to Jabba's two ex-Jabba guards who got rehired are killed, and it looks like Chrysanthemum is beaten up, but he does come back to save them at some point. And also at this point, at Pelimato's place, an X-Wing being piloted by R2-D2 arrives, which of course means Grogu has made his choice to come back and be with the Mandalorian. So Peli starts out trying to get Grogu to Mos Espa, unaware of the incoming fighting. And basically, this results in Fennec being sent to Mos Eisley. I can't remember exactly why she was sent to Mos Eisley, but I believe it was, of course, finding out that was where the Spice Syndicate was headquartered alongside Mayor Shies, and, who was the other one? There was all the other crime lords. That's where their sort of meeting place was. And so, yeah, she gets sent to take them out, which... I'll get to that point, which, yeah, she does. Okay, and from there, like I said, then there's this big shootout in the middle of Mos Espa. Eventually, the Major Domo gets sent out as kind of a dummy distraction. That enables, Boba Fett to have to go back to the palace to get to unleash the Rancor, because they brought back up in the form of battle droid or tank droids. The ones that kind of unfurl, and they have the big force fields that come out and everything. And it's at this point that the citizens of Freetown arrive, explaining that, yes, Marshal Vanth was killed, but, we know that we can't, we'll never be free if, we constantly have to live in fear of fighting all the time. So they're there to provide backup, and it seems to kind of drive some of the forces off, especially once the Rancor shows up and takes out the battle tank droids. They seem to have won the day just enough. Bane gets in a stare down with Boba Fett, actually outdraws him again a couple of times. However, Boba has learned a new trick or two and pulls out his bantha staff to trip up Bane, and then plunges it through Bane's chest, killing him. So that's how that ends. And then, like I said, Fennec takes out the other crime leaders, including the Spice Syndicate representative and the mayor of Mos Espa. So, like, Bubba's in charge now. He can finally rule in peace. Grogu and Mando go off to get back to Mandalore, to the healing waters of something. Yeah, that I can't remember from a couple episodes ago. And, it's like Boba Fett can finally rule in peace. And as we see, Marshal Vanth is not completely dead. He's in the meta tank, or whatever they call it again, or the Banca tank. And we then see also the guy who does the droid enhancements on the physical people and worked on Fennec a few episodes back too, getting ready to prepare for more surgery. So looks like Marshal Vanth is also going to be coming back soon, which is good because, that's a good character and he's played by a good actor, so I want to see more of him. And I think this does work as a better ending to the series. Again, my only real problems with this show overall was, we have 2 episodes where it's like we're following the Mandalorian around for most of them, not Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett. So yeah, I wish they kind of minimized it a little more. There was a little too many scenes going out and like just kind of dragging on there. You do get to see Mando again trying to use the Darksaber a little bit more, but to little avail really. Chrysanthemum does actually live. He comes back to save him, but he gets beaten up really bad, and he also gets a quick stay in the meta tank to heal up. And like I said, you do kind of get a nice bit of closure. I don't know if they're going to do a season 2 or not, but the ending definitely seems to imply that, so I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, next break, and that ends the spoiler section. We'll wrap things up.
Everyone into the pit, salacious crumb. The next prisoner, Gamorrean guard.
Gladly, Jabba the Hutt.
C-3PO, new Gamorrean guard, and Jabba the Hutt playset each sold separately.
Excuse me, Mr. Hutt. You've captured my friend. Free him and keep me instead.
That's a sorry tale, but this tale will make you sorrier. Guard, get the rope.
You always get him in the end, Jabba.
Jabba the Hutt playset and other action figures each sold separately from Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection, new from Kenner.
Okay, so the next video, this video is probably going up on Thursday morning at some point, hopefully. And then the next video after that is going to be, hopefully, the Death on the Nile recap and review. Right now, that's going to be up Saturday. I don't know if it'll be up early Saturday or late Saturday, or it might be more in the afternoon, because we're due to get hit with either hard snow or freezing rain. So, yeah, I might want to wait until everything's cleaned up a little bit from there to hopefully get out to the theater. And then after that is going to be the random trade review on Spider-Man Spider Hunt. That's coming out on Sunday. I got to get to work on that really bad. Like I said, I'm in a real time crunch right now, so hopefully everything can get out on time. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.